In this segment, we're going to be conversing about a nonprofit organization, Les Dames d'Escoffier International, of which, during the past year, Suzanne was president. We have a chapter here in Palm Springs, and I'm a member of that. So we're going to be chatting back and forth about that organization. And Suzanne, put your other hat on now as former president, and tell my audience what the organization is all about and the requirements for membership.
Certainly. Well, first, I will continue as president until after the forthcoming conference in Philadelphia, October 1 through 4th, and then I'll be immediate past president.
Okay.
But Les Dames d'Escoffier is an organization of professional women. It is a volunteer organization whose membership comes from by invitation only, and it's made up of professional women in the culinary business who are focused their careers on fine food, fine beverage, and hospitality, those three areas. And the basic requirement of a member is to have been in one of those three areas for a minimum of 5 consecutive years. Mm-hmm. Most of our members have been at the top of their game for many years. So we have a real cross-match of every type of culinary profession, from a vintner to caterers to cookbook authors, Food Network personalities, instructors at culinary institutes. Everyone that is in our organization has to be from that particular area.
And we do have... I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, currently we have 1,500 members, and they're spread among 26 chapters and throughout North America. We have 2 chapters in Canada right now, and the rest are in within the continental U.S.
Mm-hmm. And there is an international board that oversees the chapters, but what does the international board do as an entity of themselves, and then in relation to the 26 chapters that are out there?
Well, the charge of the board is really to oversee all of the chapters. The chapters themselves actually run the organization because it's a bottom-up rather than a top-down kind of organization, which is very different. And so international, at the board level, there are basic bylaws that all chapters follow. But then at the chapter level, they're able to take those basics, which as I said earlier, have to do with the qualification of membership. But the purpose is to grow these chapters and raise funds for women who want to be in the culinary industry and provide scholarships for their school. So with those criteria in mind, then the local chapter creates their own fundraisers and their own community programs in which they raise funds for scholarships. And Jacqueline, I know you have a big one there in Palm Springs. You want to share that now?
No, let's wait for a little while here, because we will be talking about that and some other aspects. But I think, first of all, what would be interesting to my listeners are some of the more well-known women that are currently or have been members of our organization. And I think if you could name a few, that would really be exciting to our listeners.
Well, because Julia and Julie
right.
It's a very popular movie now. Julia Child was one of our predominant members.
And we were so proud of that and are proud of that.
Right. And there's another prominent member that has M.F.K. Fisher that actually had a home at one time in Palm Springs. Mm-hmm. And she was a famous food writer, and and is the namesake for one of the 2 awards that we grant every year.
And she really started a very special way of writing about food also. Her
She
books
really
were
did.
literary reads. They were incredible.
And they were biographical in nature, many of them, and had a novel approach. Alice Medrick, who's also a chocolate person in San Francisco. We have Alice Waters.
Alice Waters, I think most people certainly do know.
Right. Mm-hmm. And then we have Jerry Ann DeVecchio, who used to be the editor, I believe, of Sunset Magazine out on the West Coast, and Joyce Goldstein, Gail Grand, Dory Greenspan, Marcella Hazan.
And we could go on and on and on about that, and we have so many upcoming chefs and writers as well that a few years down the road are going to be talking about when they first started in Les Dames, and people will be talking about them as being well known and famous. This is the Jacqueline Bachar Show, and I'm talking to coffee marketing expert Suzanne Brown about Les Dames d'Escoffier, an organization of women in the culinary and hospitality field. Let's talk about, before we get to mentioning Palm Springs chapter, because I want to certainly give them time, but give us a brief description of the yearly conference that Les Dames holds.
Great question, because that is another project of the board. Every year, the board, along with the host chapter, which happens to be Philadelphia this year, puts together a conference for the membership. This is one of the big benefits, and we have educational seminars by renowned speakers. This year our keynote happens to be Marion Nessel from New York, and we have subject matter within all of the different sections that would appeal to our segments of membership in Les Dames. We also have cultural tours of the area and provide the best food that the area can provide.
And this would be a good time to mention that the conference in 2010 is going to be held here in Palm Springs, and you visited recently to look at the different venues that are being considered for that, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. But I would at this time like to mention the Palm Springs chapter. We've been talking about fundraising. The Palm Springs chapter has an event planned for the coming year, and we've become famous for it. That is our chocolate event, which everyone looks forward to. And this year, this coming year, it's going to be a Valentine's Day brunch on Sunday, February 14th at 11:30, and we'll be at the prestigious Thunderbird Country Club. Now, things are still in the works, so we don't know the cost yet. We'll announce that later, but we've got exciting things planned, like a fashion show, a fantastic silent auction. We do this every year. The event itself is always a big hit, but the thing that guests look forward to the most is the spectacular, huge chocolate buffet created by the club chef. I think
you make me hungry just hearing you talk.
I'm in the chocolate business, and I'm getting hungry. And the important thing is, of course, as you yourself have pointed out, Suzanne, that it's a charity event, and the money raised will go to our scholarship fund here for women and girls who want to attend culinary school. And we also support other things as well, such as a local food bank. We have many things going on within our chapter. And if you don't mind, I'd like to give the telephone number for our local chapter so that our listeners can get the information, or hopefully donate an auction item. So listeners can call 760-837-7180. I will repeat that number, 760-837-7180. And I'd like to spend the next few minutes also, Suzanne, talking about the wonderful cookbook that Les Dames has out now that's called Cooking with Les Dames d'Escoffier, At Home with the Women Who Shape the Way We Eat and Drink. And we have 3 of our members here in the Palm Springs chapter particular that have been featured in that book. Zola Nichols, who writes about wine in it, Karen Stiegler, I hope I'm pronouncing her last name right, who has a recipe, and Gail Nottenberg. But all of these recipes that are in this book are from Les Dames. So talk a little bit about that now and the purpose of this book.
Well, there are several things, several reasons why we decided to launch a cookbook. One was we wanted to differentiate our organization from other similar culinary organizations. And we have so many members that have published their own cookbooks that we felt that a compilation of all of these cooks into one book would be a measurable collector's item for anyone that loves to cook, and they're easy too. The recipes are easy to follow, and for any home cook, and it has recipes from your favorite cookbook authors. So what we're doing is we're selling them through the chapters. So if you are interested in purchasing one of the Les Dames cookbooks, you can buy it through the telephone number that Jacqueline just gave you.
Well, I think we've just about sold out of our books, but we are, I'm sure, planning on getting more, and hopefully we're going to also have some at our fundraising event in February. But yes, call that number if you're interested in it. Now, do you have a recipe in here, Suzanne?
I have a little blurb about coffee in the under beverages. It's not a recipe. I didn't qualify.
I didn't either. Well,
they took my coffee tips, and that was it.
Well, but there are so many great recipes in here, and I'm sure what's going to happen is there'll be a second book coming out, because we do have a lot of talented women. And I want to make sure that I pronounced Karen's last name properly. It's Karen Stiegler. And, of course, Zola Nichols, who is a wine, she has a wine shop. She had no recipe, but she has her tips in here about wines and that kind of thing. And Gail Nottenberg, who's a caterer, has a recipe in here. But does a certain percentage of the sales of the books go to the scholarship or other funds?
No, it just goes to the chapter.
Okay, goes to the chapters, and then we use it. We can use
Exactly.
it for our scholarships and
Yep,
for other funds. Well, are there any other aspects of Les Dames International that you would like to discuss before we have to say so long?
Well, what I'd really like to say is that the conference in Palm Springs next year will be at the Grand Hyatt Champion.
Yes,
resort.
that's a definite, and that's going to attract a lot of people. And actually, I just learned that definite decision day before yesterday. So that information is brand new coming out. The one thing that makes me think of is the fact that one of the most fun things about this conference also are the dine-arounds. And we have several of our members that either own a restaurant or are involved with the restaurant. And we'll be having our dine-arounds at some of those. And you had the opportunity to try out La Spiga restaurant, which is owned by Connie. Connie Contraro and her husband. I still think about it, and I live here. So that's going to be exciting.
May I say, Jacqueline, that the Palm Springs chapter rolled out the red carpet for my colleagues and I, who were there about a month ago and looking at different properties for our conference. I don't know when I've had so much fun sort of yucking it up, learning the area, and eating more fine food than I can recall. And I was told, the hottest week that you've had in years. I think one day it was up to 118 degrees.
I think it reached 120 that day. I think we cut off 2 degrees so you wouldn't feel so bad, and you were a real trooper. Well,
your hospitality made it so.
Well, and we all enjoyed meeting you, and this is what led to this interview, and I'm very happy to hear that. And Suzanne, we're going to have to say goodbye, and I want to thank you for being here. I look forward to your visiting us again. And this is the Jacqueline Bachar Show.